Look at this. What do you see? A block of stone? Chaos trapped in form? Or do you see the statue trapped within? Every single one of us is standing in a quarry of our own potential. We can feel the form inside, the person we are meant to be, the book we are meant to write, the life we are meant to live. We can feel it like a whisper in the blood, but we look at the mountain of uncarved rock and we freeze. The sheer scale of it is paralyzing. The fear of a single wrong strike. The voice that says, "Where do I even begin?" So we turn away. We postpone. We tell ourselves we'll start tomorrow. When we have more time, more energy, more courage, we become custodians of our own procrastination. What if I told you that the secret to moving mountains is to forget the mountain exists? What if the key is not a grand act of will, but something so small, so simple, it feels like a secret? This is not a productivity hack. This is a philosophy, a way of being, a Japanese secret that has been waiting for you. It's called Kaizen, change for the better, good change, and it begins not with a leap but with a whisper. We live in the age of the summit. We are taught to worship the peak, the outcome, the glorious finish line, the published novel, the perfect body, the spotless home, the successful business. Our culture screams, go big or go home. Dream it, then do it. And so, we fix our eyes on the distant, shining peak. It's magnificent, it's inspiring, and it is utterly, completely paralyzing. The Stoic philosopher Seneca, a man who understood the human soul as well as any, saw this 2,000 years ago. He wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Let that settle. Your suffering, your paralysis, is it the actual task? Or is it the terrifying movie your mind is projecting about the task? The imagined criticism, the potential for failure, the sheer exhausting effort of the climb. This is the tyranny of the summit. The ego wants the glory but shies away from the grind. The mind, brilliant as it is, tries to solve the entire problem at once. And when it can't, it suggests a simpler solution, avoidance. Just check your phone one more time. You're not in the right mood yet. Tomorrow, you'll be more prepared. This is the engine of procrastination. It's not laziness. It's not a moral failing. It is a failure of strategy. You are trying to swallow the ocean in a single gulp, and your soul is choking. The great samurai Miyamoto Musashi, in his Book of Five Rings, did not speak of grand, heroic battles. He spoke of the way of strategy. He wrote, "Step by step, walk the 1,000-mile road." He did not say leap. He did not say sprint. He said walk, step by step. What if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is the map you've been given? The map that shows only the summit and ignores the 10,000 steps it takes to get there. You are not weak. You are just using a broken compass. Forget the mountain for a moment. Come, sit by the river, watch it. It does not try to carve the Grand Canyon in a single violent day. It does not struggle. It does not force. It simply flows. One drop of water following another, day after day, year after year, century after century. Its power is not in its fury, but in its consistency, in its gentle, unrelenting persistence. This is the spirit of Kaizen. Kaizen is a philosophy born in post-war Japan, applied to business, but its roots run deep into the bedrock of Eastern wisdom. It is the embodiment of the Tao Lao Tzu. The ancient sage of the Tao Te Ching wrote, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." We have all heard this, but we misunderstand it. We think it's about the courage of the first step. It's not. It's about the nature of the step. That first step is not a heroic giant leap. It is a small, natural, almost insignificant movement. It is a step so small that it offers no resistance. There is no drama, no fanfare, just movement. The Stoics, too, were masters of this. They called it the discipline of action. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself in his private meditations, gave this command: just do what's in front of you, not everything. Not the whole project, just the next small necessary thing. And Epictetus, the former slave who became a great teacher, warned against the arrogance of the big picture. He said, "If you seek truth, You will not seek to gain a victory by every possible means. And when you have found truth, you need not fear being defeated. Chasing the big, dramatic victory is the ego's game. It sets you up for a fall, but seeking the small, humble truth of the next action. That is the way of the river. It cannot be defeated because it does not fight the rock. It simply flows around it and through it. Over time, Kaizen is the philosophy of the drop, the bamboo, the hammer strike. It is the quiet understanding that everything monumental is built from a series of insignificant moments. The Great Wall of China is just one brick, placed again and again. The Mona Lisa is just one brushstroke laid over another. The mountain you fear is made of sand, and you move it, one grain at a time. So how do we apply this? How do we move from the paralysis of the summit to the flow of the river? We perform alchemy. We transmute the overwhelming into the effortless. We make the act of beginning comically small. The rule is simple. Make the first step so small that it is impossible to say no. Your mind, which recoils at the thought of writing a book, cannot possibly argue with writing one sentence. Your body, which dreads an hour at the gym, will not resist one push-up. Your spirit, which is overwhelmed by cleaning the entire house, can easily handle washing one single dish. This is not a trick. This is a profound reframing. You are not failing to do more. You are succeeding in doing the one small, defined thing you set out to do. You are building a chain of tiny, undeniable successes. And here is the secret magic. The law of momentum. The philosopher and psychologist William James called it the principle of inauguration. He understood that the act of beginning, however small, creates a shift in our entire psychic state. Once you have written that one sentence, your mind often thinks, well, I might as well write another. Once you are on the floor for that one push-up, you might do two. Once you wash that one dish, the next one is right there. But the rule is, you are only obligated to the small step. If you do one push-up and stop, you have won. You have honored your commitment. You have kept the chain unbroken. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who wanted to become a runner, but every time he thought of a 5K run, he felt tired. So he made a deal with himself. His only goal was to put on his running shoes and step outside his door. That was it. Some days he would put on his shoes, step outside, and come right back in. He had succeeded. But most days, standing there in the fresh air, he'd think, well, I'm already here. I might as just walk to the end of the street, and he would. And sometimes, at the end of the street, he'd feel like jogging a few steps. Within a few months, he was running that 5K. Not because he ever set out to run it, but because he set out every day to simply put on his shoes. He was not building a fitness habit. He was building an identity. The identity of someone who shows up. The identity of someone who keeps small promises to themselves. This is the real transformation. It's not about the task. It's about the self-trust that is built brick by tiny brick. And now, feel the shift inside you. The anxiety about the future. Where did it go? It vanished because you are no longer in the future. You are here in this moment, doing this one small, manageable thing. This is the deepest secret of all. Kaizen is not just a productivity tool. It is a gateway to mindfulness, to presence. When your entire reality shrinks to the space of one sentence, one push-up, one clean dish, the noisy, fearful mind goes quiet. The ego, which thrives on the drama of the big struggle, has nothing to latch onto. You have entered what the Buddhists call mindfulness, or the state of flow. You are no longer thinking about the action. You are the action. The German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, in his own fiery way, touched on this same truth. He said, the most common form of despair is not being who you are. Procrastination is a form of despair. It is the despair of not being the person you know you could be. Kaizen is the antidote. It is the gentle daily practice of becoming who you are. Not in one grand, painful gesture, but in 1,000 tiny, peaceful ones. You are no longer fighting the rock. You are the water, shaping it effortlessly over time. So we return to the quarry, to the block of marble. You see it differently now, don't you? You don't need to see the finished statue perfectly to begin. You don't need the strength to shatter the stone in a single blow. You only need to pick up your hammer and chisel and make one small, precise tap, then another and another. The sculptor does not command the marble to become a masterpiece. They engage in a silent conversation with it, tap by tap, chip by chip. Each small strike reveals a fragment of the form hidden within. This is your life. This is your work. This is your art. Stop trying to climb the whole mountain. Just take the next small step on the path that lies clearly at your feet. The secret was never about willpower. It was about wisdom, the wisdom of the river, the wisdom of the step, the wisdom of the small. The mountain was an illusion, a trick of the light and a fearful mind. All that ever truly existed was the path, and the next step, and the one after that. So go on. Begin, not tomorrow, not later. Now write the one sentence. Do the one push-up. Wash the one dish. Make the one small, good change. And watch as the mountain, grain by grain, begins to move for you.